Hello, Facebook. I have not been on a Facebook Live in forever. And the topic that I'm going to be sharing with you today is about chronic pain. And if you know somebody who suffers in their body with pain, tension, or inflammation, it would be really incredible for you to share this live stream with them, either on your page or in a direct message, or mention them in the comments, because what I'm going to share with you today on this live stream could have a profound effect on their health and their life experience. So before we get started, I want to just acknowledge something. I had a Facebook profile that I closed in 2020. I was in the midst of my awakening, and I wanted to turn off as much external stimulus as possible while I was focusing on my experience. And I opened a new Facebook page because I'm in several business programs. Well, I'm in 2 memberships. Hi, Marta. I have 2 memberships, one with Melanie Ann Layer of Alpha Femme, another with Stephanie Ann Houston Inc. Her membership is called The Collective. And I committed to these programs in the late 2021. And the programs are run in Facebook groups. So I made a Facebook profile. And I started by just becoming friends with people that I've known since I was little or middle school or high school. I reluctantly added friends that were affiliated with people in my business programs, but not actually in the programs, because I would get a lot of cold DMs selling me something about business coaching. And I want to be really honest and transparent that I don't really think, well, I know I haven't really let myself be seen as my human. I've lived so much just sharing the information that I know about fitness or about spirituality. And so I'm actually I'm pretty nervous to actually be on here for Facebook. Instagram is a whole different vibe. And so I just wanted to share that with you, that in case we're friends now and we used to be friends on my old profile, you don't think that I unfriended you. I just deleted the entire account. And if you are one of my friends, thanks, Marta. If we've known each other since middle school or high school and you look at my feed and you're like, I don't even get it. And I actually got a DM from somebody from middle school saying, I don't understand what you're doing. And all I've really cared about is helping people turn their bodies around. I've been in fitness for 21 years, and then the energetics that I learned since my awakening has just taken it to an entirely different level. And so it's true, I don't really talk about anything else other than work. But what I've come to realize and embrace is that my whole life has been about what it is that I do for a living, and I'm not upset about it anymore, and I'm not hiding behind it anymore. Because what I've recently come to realize is that all my early childhood mental, emotional wounds, all of the sad things that happened, wounds hyphen sad things that happened, have all been mental, emotional, ever since I was very, very little. And I've gone down the rabbit hole of spiritual, like different areas of spirituality, some religion, but mostly just looking how religion has annihilated any animism of indigenous cultures that had a balance of masculine and feminine energy in the Godhead. And as I've gone through my own soul retrieval work, my own lineage and ancestor work, I'm realizing that my suffering and my perspective has all led me to this point as someone who's like really ready to embody the whole thing. Because my mental, emotional woundings and my will to thrive and heal and get over it and fix it and figure out how it could be different has all brought me to a really deep understanding of the binary code of energetics. That it's very simply a positive charge from masculine energy, a negative charge from feminine energy, and the anti-material universe is, there's a lot of ises and ands. The anti-material universe is the masculine, and the material universe is the feminine. And we get to tap into both worlds while we've been thinking that the material is the only thing that's creating our experience. And this awakening time, thanks Marta, that we're all in, since the energy shifted greatly in 2012. Hey, Sonia. This awakening process, because the energy has shifted, we're able to get different intelligences, different frequencies coming into our grid, our planetary grid, from other star systems that we have before 2012 been cut off from. And so what I'm going to share with you and start to share with you here every other day, on the odd days I'll be on Instagram Live, is my perspective and and how I've used the energetics and interpret the chakras and interpret this whole experience. And the thing, I'm sorry, I get sidetracked a bit. So part of why things are expanding so much the way they are, and why we have so many shadows coming to the surface with all civilization structures, is because in those years of 2012 and before, the last 26,000 year cycle, the last, what do they call it? A lunar, it's not a lunar year. I'll post it in the comments, the picture of it, so you can see. We made it through an entire round of the zodiac. So we're in a new zodiac of the Aquarian age, not the Piscean age. And in the Piscean age, the divine feminine was taken out. And this is why indigenous cultures all over the world have been genocided, holocausted, to not let people know the binary code of energetics. Because when we know the binary code of energetics, a positive charge from masculine, a negative charge from feminine, we get to program our own experience. There is no matrix, there's no enforced reality that we have to conform to. And so if you're noticing more and more people talking about energy and feminine, it's because we, us who are talking about it in our physical bodies, are remembering it. And we're activating our DNA using the energetic codes in our unique expression of it. So this is what I'm going to share with you, my unique expression of it. So this month, I'm focusing on the solar plexus. The solar plexus, I'm like, do I talk like everybody knows what the chakra is, or do I explain it? So the solar plexus is a chakra, and it's right underneath your rib cage, and it has divine masculine energy in it. And then why did my energy just change and I'm not talking like a robot anymore? Okay. So I get nervous, I talk like a robot. Okay. So the solar plexus is, on a spiritual level, your I am consciousness, where who you are as an extension of source energy is shining through, coming straight down your hara line from source energy itself, through your crown chakra, through your third eye, through your throat, through your heart, and then emanating a light out of your solar plexus. And the solar plexus is also tied to the mind. The mind is masculine energy. The mind has a body. We call it the mental body. And if you take a, little investigation at your physical body, you know exactly what it looks like. Well, on the perimeter of that is your emotional body. And then the next layer of that is your mental body. And your mental body and your solar plexus are like this in their communication. And so what happens, because remember in the beginning of this, I said, if you know somebody with chronic pain, tension, migraines, share this video with them. This is why. When we are empathic, which everybody is empathic, by the way, there's just different levels of it. If we are someone who can sense the energy in the room, the tension in the room, if we're someone who has intuition, who can hear a cue to maybe take a right turn instead of a left turn, or can sense when maybe they shouldn't be doing something, and then maybe they should work on it, and then something else out there just works out perfectly. When you have somebody who gives and gives and gives because they have a really big heart, but they don't actually feel good about themselves, and so they hide themselves behind their giving. When we have that type of a personality, and we have the solar plexus and the mental body, what may start to happen is that the solar plexus, in its desire to want more, the solar plexus is the masculine energy of the positive charge of doing the thing. We can go into a lot of masculine archetypes of the warrior, the fighter, the provider, the hunter, the person that you go to for advice. And so if we take a look at what masculine is, those are the archetypes of it, and it has to do with the mind. The masculine energy is, quote unquote, the mind of God, where the feminine energy is the heart of God. And so when we have these two energetics working in our body, because that's how it's always going to work, we're always going to have both, just in different degrees and different levels of awareness of how they work. When we have a solar plexus that in the divine masculine energy, the mind of God wants to become, wants to extend, wants to grow, wants to do the things. But the feminine energy of the intuition and the empathic body is like, no, 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 because that's scary. I don't want to be seen, or I want to give so much so that I will feel whole. What happens is there's this disconnect between the mental body and the physical body. It's more like an encroaching in. So when we have the energy of, I want to do more, I want to become more, I will always desire more, but we're not aware of it, what ends up happening is the masculine energy goes toxic. And when masculine energy is toxic, the reason why it's toxic is because it's cut off from the heart. It's cut off of intuition. So you can think of it as like this. If you are in the middle of the ocean and you are a captain of a ship, or there's a captain of a ship, whatever. You're a captain of a ship and you're at the wheel and you're on your way to go do something. And there's a school of whales, in the distance, and they're up at the surface. And so if you were to run over them, you're going to cut the whales. You could possibly kill them. If you are in toxic masculine energy, in this context, you don't check your sonar to see if there's any living beings underneath your boat. And then you run over it. Really, Sonia? You run over the whales. You kill them, you injure them. That's toxic masculinity, of just going on your course and not giving a fuck about anything, in a way that is self-serving to the point that it's just about you. So that's like the overarching toxic masculinity, right? You just leave a path of destruction in your wake. But then here's the thing. When we have the desire to become more and do more, and we are disconnected from the heart space, or we're misusing the heart space, we're misusing our empathic abilities, we're hiding from the empathic abilities, the desire to become and do more is still going to be active. But because the program, the binary code, is not actually working together, the mismatch, because it's all taking place in the human experience of the physical body, shows up on the physical body. So if we zoom out again to that mental body that's on the perimeter outside the emotional body, and then the physical body is underneath that layer, what happens is, because this solar plexus is not getting information from the high heart, because we're not allowing intuition, the divine feminine energetics of the Godhead, to be part of our inner guidance system, And below the solar plexus, our emotional navigation system, which is the sacral chakra, if that's going back and forth of being too much, so giving too much in this context, not giving enough to the self, because we oscillate between these two of too much and not enough, avoidant and anxious attachment styles to anything, not just romance. When we have that cutoff from the heart and the mismanagement of the sacral chakra, the solar plexus is still going. The boat is still going. And so because these energetics above and below the solar plexus are not working with the solar plexus, and the boat, the ship, is the actual body, it's this that's going to get messed up. And the mental body is the memory storage system. The mental body is everyone's personal matrix. And so I want you to think about a matrix as a globe, a sphere that encompasses your whole body, your whole aura. And in this matrix, I want you to see longitude and longitude. Is that the right word? I want you to see lines going vertically and horizontally. Because every time a vertical line and a horizontal line intersect, what you have is a memory. What you have is a place in time and space. They're like little chunks of time. And if you're following me, we have to expand what we think time is. Time is like a delineation of experiences and memory. This is why if we smell perfume, it brings us back. If we listen to a song, it brings us back. So what's happening, if this mental body is driving the boat, driving your body, wanting to do, not having intuition from the high heart, being too much or not enough, avoidant or anxious attachment styles from the sacral chakra, all these time-space realities, all these intersections of your matrix, they like get snagged and pulled, and they cause tension. Because we have this matrix on the outside of our body of intersections of time and space. We'll just call them memories. And then we also have this fascia connective tissue underneath our skin. It's the thin layer of bone is actually what it is. And when we have a position, so say we elevate our shoulder a lot, the body is going to send in more fascia, more of this very thin bone structure to keep it that way. Because this is not an organic placement of the shoulder. We've got the collarbones that are horizontal-ish. They have a little bit of a bend to them. We have the shoulder blades that are like upside down triangles on the back side of our rib cage. Then we have the rib cage. Then we have the humerus, the upper arm bone that hangs. This is actually, the shoulder joint is actually not a joint. It's hanging. It's not a joint like a finger joint. So if we have our shoulder up a lot, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The shoulder up a lot could be because there is a very active memory in this area of a person's matrix that is like swirling energy and getting it really active and literally pulling the shoulder up. And the brain, having energetic and physical function to it, is like, you need that up? Here you go. Here's more fascia. We'll keep it up. And then the body starts to reflect and build itself based on the mental state. So it's not just the chemicals that secrete from the brain, degenerative or regenerative molecules of emotion that impact the DNA expression. It's also building material based on what it's sensing in the field of what your brain thinks your body needs. And so I would love for you, I don't know if you know this, if there's like anybody watching that doesn't know me very well, I had a disc in my neck slide up and under the one above it They both tore. The one that slid up tore more. I had chronic migraines, obviously a lot of neck pain. I thought I was going to be able to heal it in 4 months. And when I went back to the neurosurgeon, I'm on, narcotic pain relievers every 5 hours because they said stay ahead of the pain. I don't know why I'm doing this. So I go back to the neurosurgeon and he's like, you need surgery. So I posted, this is in 2017, that I'm going to probably have surgery. And someone said, read Dr. Sarno's The Divided Mind first. And what I found out is that after tissue is healed, after the healing process is complete, if we still have pain, it's emotional pain. And I could have said, well, yeah, whatever, and then had surgery. But the thing that he also says in his book is that you could be chasing pain your whole life. You could get the surgery to fix whatever a surgeon is saying needs to be fixed. But if you don't do the emotional work, you're just going to have pain either in that same area or it's going to go somewhere else. And I thought, wow, I know a lot of people who chase pain and have several surgeries. So I decided to do the work. And I started with Dr. John Sarno. Then I moved into doing meditations by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Then I got obsessed and would read and watch lectures from Dr. Bruce Lipton about biology and how the chemicals from your brain affect things. Greg Braden, who has gone around the whole world interviewing religious and spiritual people about energy and the different ways this binary code has been passed on through the eons. And and Dr. Candace Pert, who discovered the receptor we have for opiates. There's just so many great people that have been teaching this energy work. And in my journey to get out of chronic pain, I've learned all of this and I've applied it. And in that application process and in how the cosmos did what they did in 2020, it's like I got more of an internal system of speaking about it and seeing it for myself. Because when I meditate, things just turn on. Like now I turn things on specifically with my chakras, but when this was first happening to me, the chakras would just turn on. The Kundalini snake just rose up. The serpents on each side of the chakra column started to go up on their own. And then I'd go look it up on the internet and be like, what? Is this really happening? So when you do this, okay, so the next step is if you have chronic pain and tension, I want you to notice where you feel the chronic pain and tension, because your body will tell you exactly what you need to know. So here's some integration work for you. Journal, make a list of all the places that your body hurts. And then I want you to use Google and type in Louise Hay shoulder pain, Louise Hay elbow pain, Louise Hay cat saying left heel. Because Louise Hay, I didn't mention her earlier, spent her whole career meeting people, working with people, and finding that people had a similar belief system or a similar emotional wound associated with shoulder pain, associated with neck pain. She's not the only person who has compiled this. There are other books about this, but Louise Hay comes up pretty quickly. You can also just Google the emotional meaning of shoulder pain, of knee pain, of hip pain, whatever. Because once you have your list of all the ways that your body hurts you, and then you make another column and you look up belief systems. So like a belief system, sometimes they'll list them as a mantra. If you feel like everybody's out to get you, everybody's going to take advantage of you, that's a belief system. That's a part of your matrix that's keeping you trapped. And so you can look at the belief systems and then also emotional. So abuse might come up, physical, mental, sexual, emotional, spiritual abuse might come up also in your findings. But then what's going to happen is this belief and the emotion, those are mental emotional states. Those are time, space, realities. Those are experiences that are going on right now, because time actually isn't linear, it's all at the same time, those are experiences that your body is physically going through in the present moment, which is why it's exhibiting the symptoms of it. Like there's a piece, there's like a hologram of your body in that time space currently for it to be active in your now physical body. This is why chronic pain, fibromyalgia, is such a pain in the ass, because it's deep, it's energetic work. And there are healing modalities that have been around forever, but we're going to start to hear more and more of this in the new paradigm as more and more of us really integrate our inner knowings since our frequencies changed in 2012 to now. So it's a very exciting time for self-actualization and self-leadership. So write down your list of pain, look it up on the internet, write down the mantras or the self-limiting beliefs, write down the emotional woundings, and then when you have that, the mental and the emotional, now it's your inner work time. Now it's really time to self-reflect, because you got to sit with yourself and consciously remember what could have happened in your experience that relate to those mental and emotional columns. Because when you can remember the experience, there will be things that you don't remember. That's another live stream or a meditation that we can go into. But if you can start with your conscious memories, if you can start with your own life experience, not your past lifetimes, if you can start with your own personal experience of remembering something that could have happened to you or that did happen to you from that list of mental, emotional clues, then you can actually look at the experience. And when you can observe the experience, you're going to go through the grieving process. Go Google that too. Go through the stages of grief. Because we have to grieve the experiences that are causing us pain. We have to go through all of those stages. Because we have to clear it out of our matrix. Number one, so it stops hurting us. And number two, so that the solar plexus inner drive to become more and do more is not inhibited. Because it's like the solar plexus of like your I am consciousness or these desires is like trying to pull you forward. But then you've got this matrix that's like, no, and it's like pulling on all your tissue. And yes, there is the work that has to do with your intuition and your high heart and connecting to that divine feminine energy. And there is emotional intelligence that you have to work on with the sacral chakra to break the habits of anxious and avoidant, too much and not enough patterns. But if we can start with these time-space realities that are messing with your body right now, it's a great place to start. And what happens when we take the time to go through the grieving process, you're going to find out how you have projected those same harmful, toxic energetics into your life experience. So you're going to start to really have to take responsibility for the choices that you've made that maybe has set you back, as well as harming other people. Because this is just how the energy works. When we were cut off from the divine feminine, we're cut off from the heart space and the high heart. The high heart is the heart of the light body, the high self, the inner being. We are the one. We are the unity consciousness of the divine masculine on the anti-material side and the divine feminine on the material side. We've been cut off. And when we're cut off, it is now like a ship without a captain. It's a computer with no program. It's a computer that's corrupted. So the thing that happens is this matrix of all these time-space realities, all these memories that are stuck in our field, that are pulling on our tissue as our solar plexus is trying to take us forward and becoming more, we spit out through the projections of the solar plexus, the masculine energy, the doing, the being, the acting, we start to just spit out the pain. We inflict our pain that's stored in our mental body out into our experience. And so when we go through the grieving process to free it up for ourselves, that actually gives us space to take an honest look at how we've done those very same things to persons, places, or things. And then you have to go through the grieving process for yourself, because that's the way that we're going to release the shame and the guilt, so that we can really start to recalibrate each of these chakras and use them for their highest capacity. And it's how we are going to connect our masculine and feminine, and it's how we're going to heal the body and really start to create the life experience that we desire. We have to reprogram the physical body. So do that work. I would really love, you can comment below if you do the integration work that I gave you, or you can send me a private message if you don't feel comfortable, having it in public. I will tell you, if it's juicy, if it's really good, if you made a big change in your life, I'm going to share it on my stories, but I'll cross out your name and cover your picture. Because this is new energetic work. This is a new way to talk about it. And this is a process to help build the new paradigm. So if you do this integration work with what I just shared with you, this could have been a masterclass, and you message me or you tell me, I want to share it with people so that people will say, oh my God, I can try this out. I don't know why I'm doing air quotes. I can try this out by watching this live stream. Nobody will ever know that I watched the live stream, and I'll do the integration work and see if I get anywhere. And we could have, so I'm speaking to the person who does the integration work and DMs me in private, we could have 20 people that we help change their lives because you did the integration work, you shared it with me, and I shared it on social media. And that took the edge off of somebody reaching out to me to say, what is this? I can't afford it. I don't know if it'll work. We're giving people this opportunity to do it for free. We're empowering people by you doing it. So that would be amazing if you did. The last thing that I want to say, Kat just said, fear of moving forward into my future. I move forward in life with joy and ease. Yes. Future for me equals the unknown. Yeah. And that's the thing with the future, is that it's like a double-edged sword, because the future is something that we bring our physical body into based on vibration. So if we're in expansive emotions that are above boredom, so go Google the emotional scale. If we're in expansive emotions above boredom, we will move our physical body on the timeline faster to where we want to go. If we are in compressing emotions below boredom on the emotional scale, we move ourselves further away from our desires. Because really what we're doing is, if we're in expansive emotions, we're in the heart of God, the divine feminine. If we are not in expansive emotions, we're cutting ourselves off of half of source energy. So fear of moving forward into my future. The fear of the unknown is like, you get to step into a time-space reality based on your belief and your energy, your mental and emotional state. And so the unknown, when you're in expansive emotions, means that it's going to be better than you ever imagined it to be, because it's unknown. You cannot predict how amazing your life could be when you have both divine masculine and divine feminine energetics, binary code directed by you. And then the other thing is that when we have the divine masculine, divine feminine energetics working together, the positive charge and the negative charge, what's going to happen is with your intention, so your divine masculine, with your intention to do more and desire more and become more, if you're really going to do it, and then your body speaks to you because a snag in your matrix pulls on you, and then you go find what those mental emotional meanings are to the pain that you're experiencing, you have to deal with your emotions. You have to be the empath and the highly sensitive person that is willing to go into that dark night of the soul every time pain appears. Because the physical body is just the expression of the emotional pain that's like, being dragged through. So it's like if we got this, hang on. If we've got this solar plexus down here, it's trying to go forward. You got the physical body, then you've got that layer of the emotional body, then you got like the matrix. So if the solar plexus is trying to bring you forward because it's in a certain amount of divine masculine energy, think of your solar plexus as divine masculine energy and your matrix as toxic masculinity. So if your solar plexus is in its I am consciousness, bringing you forward as your extension of source, becoming more, desiring more, doing more, being more high capacity person, but you as an empath are terrified of being an empath and feeling all the feelings because in your experience, feeling equaled pain and rejection. If we've cut off our emotional body, we've ignored it, it's like, again, it's that captain of the ship. There's no navigation system. So the solar plexus in its I am consciousness is moving forward like that captain of the ship earlier, not listening to the navigation system and running over a school of whales and killing whales on its path, leaving destruction in its wake. So what that really is on this energetic level is it's like our matrix, these time-space realities are, because they're still masculine energy, it's like they are attached to the solar plexus in a certain way. And so if the solar plexus is moving forward, trying to take your body forward, and then you have this matrix and this net, and it's being pulled through the emotional body. It's being pulled through the physical body. We're going to have pain. And so if we do this desiring more, becoming more, doing more, being more, embodying our I am consciousness, embodying who we are as an extension of source energy, when we feel that pain, we have to look at what is held there in the emotional body. We have to look at the beliefs that are still attached to that emotion, and we have to look at the feelings and what we've made those feelings, those emotions mean about our worth. That's the only way we're going to get out of the chronic pain. So this fear of the unknown, Kat, that was all off of what you wrote. The reason why I went into it so deeply is because when you are operating in the unknown, to get there into the future, you have to dig through the muck and the dark night of the soul. You have to experience the pain. You have to experience emotional pain from the memories. But if you do that, you expand your capacity to hold more energy and actually do the becoming of more. Because I want you to think of it as every time you go into your pain, your physical pain, which will trigger the emotional pain, you will re-experience it. You will feel bad about yourself. All of the judgments and the worthiness stuff that you made that emotional state mean about you, you're going to go through it like it just happened. And if you can withstand that, what happens is you do that grieving work for the memory of the whole experience being done to you. You get honest with yourself and see how you did it to other people, places, and things. You go through the grieving process for yourself. You just cleared an entire reality that is no longer active. It's gone. It's not in your matrix. It has become a book in the Akashic records. That when your emotional body is in the field of being the human and interacts with another person and you feel the heebie-jeebies, or you feel somebody trying to cord to you to suck your energy out of you, you're like, oh, I know what that energy is. Nope. And instead of having a flare because you do something out of alignment, you stay contained. As the empath, your energy is protected. This is the thing like we all talk about. Put a bubble around us. Yes, but if you put a bubble around your matrix, it's still going to hurt. So that, there was one other thing I wanted to say. So another way to think about it, Kat, this is all for you. Sonia, Sonia, you didn't make a statement like that, but if you have a statement, Sonia, that you want to talk about, let's talk about it. Kat, when you're doing that, okay, like everything that I just said before I lost track of it, if you're doing all of that, what it to me feels like, this higher capacity to hold pain without experiencing the pain, is that we're going into a higher and higher skyscraper. And it's not that we're so high in vibration that we don't experience bad things. It's that we're so high in vibration that we see a bigger landscape of emotional conditions. So bad shit can still happen to us. We can still feel sad and depressed and all of these things, but the downtime is not that long. The body doesn't exhibit the symptoms. And we have such a greater perspective because of all this work that we're like, I'm emotional right now. And if we're an empath that has cut this off for a very long time, we don't think about, do I need a bath? Do I need water? Do I need a Diet Coke? Do I need a sandwich? Do I need to take a nap? Like we forget. We forget that the emotional feeling body is this thing just moving through an energetic field, encountering other people with their own experience and world structures that are falling apart. You know, like we forget all of that. Kat says, yes, I'm listening. Okay, I'm so glad. Okay, so hopefully, okay, cool. Yeah, Sonia says, to be honest, I don't suffer from pain, but I do chakra work and energetic work, and I'm very interested by what you say. Yay, awesome. Well, I would love to hear what your energetic and chakra work is. That would be cool. Okay, so in the closing, I am doing meditations every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And it's in Body Energetics Facebook group. What we are doing is an activation. So I am going to do my own energy work before I start the live stream so that I can tap in, tune in, and just transmit directly from my highest self, my higher self, like with 200% intentionality. So I'm going to do my energetic work first, because then in the activation, I'm going to talk about the solar plexus with whatever comes through in that moment. Then we're going to go into a meditation where I will guide you into this energy center. And I will guide you to discover what information is stored there. And so the information that's stored there is going to be times and space. We're going to be doing time travel. So I'll guide you through that process. And then after the meditation, I'm going to give you integration work. Because the whole purpose to me, as an Aries rising, manifesting generator, 6'2", fitness instructor, is to grow. To not do meditation for the sake of meditation for those 15 minutes. The whole point of my meditations is to pull up these old memories, clear them out of the body, so that you can activate your codes. Your codes are in your DNA. DNA is multidimensional. It's physical and it's energetic. So when I help you clear out this information that's negative in the context, not negative space, not the negative womb of the mother of the divine feminine, negative, bad, horrible, terrible situations, when we clear those out of your body, it gives you room for your codes to activate faster, to activate it all. And it gives you the space for you to now program. We're like dislodging old memories so that you can power it up with something different. Mental, emotional states. Okay? So thank you so much for being here. This was so great that two of you were live. It really expanded the conversation. Super appreciate it. And yeah, so body energetics group, Sundays at 6 p.m. We're doing the solar plexus. We're going to grow. We're going to become more. We're going to desire more. And we're going to do it without being in pain. We might go through pain on the way, and then pain might pop up in the future here and there, but you get to use it and interpret it and understand it as a mental emotional state that you've encountered, something that's like really old probably. Because you get to a point where you don't experience pain, and then when you do, it's because you changed something in your 3D. You'd made a different mental, emotional, physical decision, and then it's this old, like, teeny tiny little thing, like way out in your matrix, that's like, oh yeah, but here's the like flip side of it. Here's where you're still afraid of it. You work on it, you make it into a book in the Akashic records, you put it in the record hall, and then when you encounter that vibration again, instead of having a flare, you pull the book out and you're like, this is what I want to do instead, and you move on with your life. And then it happens again, and it happens again, but it kind of happens less frequently. So you get to read Akashic records while you live your life. Okay, bye for real.